Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my Higurashi When They Cry Let's Play. Today we'll be recording episode 30. So episode 30 is going to be the all-cast review session, and then a bit of theorizing. So, first of all, my bad. I honestly didn't realize how long it had been since my last episode. It wasn't even me trying to, vanish again, right? I got back from my trip, and started grinding Destiny, like I said I would. And right as that would have ended, I got pretty sick. It wasn't like, my life was in jeopardy sick, but it was like, wow, I really don't feel like recording a YouTube video level sick, right? And kind of wasn't feeling great for a bit. And that probably lasted like 2 weeks. I think after that, I just kind of was finishing up the game I'd been playing while sick, not thinking about things too much. I also wanted to give myself a little bit of time to theorize, although I'll be honest, I didn't do as much with that time as I really would have liked. I don't know. There are a lot of things I really don't have a clue on still, unfortunately. I wish I had a better understanding of what's happening right now than I do. But my thought experiments did not get me very far. With that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into this episode. I just figured I'd give you guys a real quick explanation for... it's been right around 3 weeks since... Actually, I think it has been 3 weeks at this point since my last video was uploaded, so... Yeah. My bad. Got a quick little break, though. Well, I got a really long break, actually. I'm excited to jump back into it, though. Kind of just jump into the review session. I'm much more worried about how the theory part of this video will go.
この度も日暮の泣く頃に推たたり殺しを最後までお楽しみいただき、これまでのシナリオとは少し違う雰囲気でお送りしましたが、いかがだったでしょうか?
Yeah, it was a lot more suffocating, I feel. I don't know. Even during, Chapters 1 and 2 obviously had serious stuff going on, right? Chapter 2 in particular, right? There was a lot of murder happening. Chapter 1 felt like a slower build-up, right? A lot of suspense in Chapter 1. Chapter 2 was just straight up, death, right? But Chapter 3 still, I don't know, it just hits kind of different, in my opinion.
お楽しみいただけたなら幸いです。
Oh, I did enjoy it though.
今回も胸のすくようなバッドエンドだったわね。私個人としては大災害が実際に起こった時の惨劇の描写も欲しかったところだけど、みんなの感想も同じかしら?
What did she say? I will admit it would make it a lot more clear what exactly happened there. We'll talk about all this stuff later, because, honestly, I think my thoughts on this really haven't changed all that much, to my knowledge. I actually almost don't even remember my own thoughts, initial impressions.
そんなわけありませんでしたよ。またしても大バッドエンド
Yeah. Why is that so funny to you, Mia?
あれれバッドエンドって割にはみーちゃんは楽しそうだね。っていうか、もう笑うしかないってのが本音でしょうね。
You know what? You kind of raise a valid point. Oh, by the way, something I didn't mention in the intro, but I figure I should mention. I slightly tweaked the video settings, and so if you guys are able to notice that, let me know. All I did was drop the bitrate by a bit because I thought it was way, after looking into it, it seemed way higher than it needed to be, by nearly a factor of 2, which probably contributes to my large video size for videos that are of a visual novel, right? They don't need to have that high of a bitrate. Frankly, I didn't even need to stay at the high end of what most people were suggesting, but I did. I also changed the file format so that in the case of power outages, which has happened before, right, during a video, But in that scenario, I don't think I should be as cooked because I'm not using MP4 anymore. So if either of those are noticeable in the video quality, please let me know. And I will probably just instantly revert those changes. But like, if there's not really a noticeable dip in quality, then W, I guess. But yeah, no. What Shion is saying is fair. I mean, what can you do at this point? Every route ends in some horrific ending. Makes sense Oishi would come in after that.
毎回嫌な終わり方がエスカレートすると思ったら、とうとうここまで行き着いちゃったわけですからね。
I hope it reached a culmination at least.
みんな仲良しで死んじゃったのですよ。
False.
仲良しなのです。ニパー。
Even ignoring the as friends part, everyone did not die together. Like, if I remember correctly, Satoko was straight up missing. Riko was dead before. Keiichi lived, right? Like, you guys did not die together. Like, Rena and Mion, maybe. They might have died together as friends. Everyone else? Not how that went.
そういう見方もあるのかな。毎回死んでる僕はもうごめんだな。
Bro, that's actually fair. Poor Tomitake.
たまには死なずにエンドを迎えたいね。
富武さんって時報みたいな役割なんですよね。
Yeah, when Tomitake dies, I know the route is getting for real.
富武さんが死んだら、あ、後半戦突入だ
Yeah, pretty much.
みたいな。
More or less. Jeez, that was loud.
さて、ではここで今回の会合に改めてご参加いただく皆さんです。拍手でお迎えください。まずは監督こと入江京介さん。
See what Irie's
ご
got
紹
for
介
us.
に預かりまして光栄です。どうもどうも。脇役だったわけですが、トータルで見てみるとかなり美味しい役だったなぁなんて思ってます。
Yeah, I mean, I suspect Irie will be really important at some point. I feel like in this route, even, he was relatively important. I think understanding that scene at the hospital, or the clinic, I feel like fully understanding that scene is going to be really important. And obviously, this is to say nothing of the fact that he's being called a Kantoku, right? So, director, whatever, the word that translates to a lot of different things, apparently. But the general vibe is like director or leader, right? Ignoring him being called the same thing as the construction foreman, right? Okay, sorry, jump cut. I had to make sure I was remembering things correctly, and then I was like, I probably shouldn't deep dive into the text too much right now when I will be doing that in like 30 minutes. I don't really remember where I was going, so we're gonna move on with this. I kind of remember. We were talking about Irie and how I think obviously the Kantoku part is important. I think that's an important link back to the construction foreman, very likely, as well as the person that was being called into Keiichi's house at the end of chapter 1. For what purpose, we didn't know. Keiichi didn't seem to like it, I will say that. But in all fairness, the more I think about it, the more anything Keiichi thought in chapter 1 should, like, basically be ignored. In a way. Right? Not literally ignored, but like a lot of things, it's like his personal opinion on it probably should be ignored that late in the route. That man was... Whew, man was a little loony. Right? Anyways, but even just beyond that, I think it's important that we understand the scene at the clinic from this chapter. I think it'll paint a clearer picture. About what he knows, what he's involved in, what is going on, right? So let's just move on.
本当ですわね。脇役にしては出番もセリフも多すぎで、しかもキャラが強すぎましたよ。
今後どれだけ出番があるかはわかりませんが、その説は応援よろしくお願いしますね。
I definitely think he'll get his fair share of appearances in the second half of the game. Possibly in chapter 4 as well.
ありがとうございました。では次に我らが担任 知恵ルミ子先
Has she shown up to any of these?
皆さんどうもこんにちは。いろいろと登場シーンもあったのですが、今回カレー勝負で目立つシーンをいただきまして、カレーをバカにする人は許せません。ええ。
誰もバカになんてしていませんよ。あ、知恵先生に席を空けてあげてください。
I will say this is definitely the route where she was most plot relevant, but she's still kind of just there driving. Like, she might drive a few events, but she's never really that important, right? But cool to see her here.
さて、これでとりあえず全員揃ったね。
Really, they just added Irie and needed to make it an even number, though.
レナ、また乾杯をよろしくね。
では皆さん、各卓のコップをお持ちになってください。お飲み物はいろいろありますよ。
本当にお疲れ様会も賑やかになりましたね。今何人ぐらいいるんです？
私たちを加えて多分10人くらいはいると思います。
未成年人と成年人の人数比がこれでやっと互角かな。
Whoa, W.
これで胸を張ってアルコールが飲めるね。
ビールってなんで冷えてるとあんなに美味しいのに、ぬるくなるとあんなにまずくなるのかしら。
You know, that's kind of fair. I can't really disagree.
七不思議の一つよね。
なんででしょうね。
さあビールを継ぎますよ。12345あれ、大人は6人でしたっけ？
みー、僕も泡麦茶がいいのです。
The foamy barley tea.
リカちゃんもお酒はダメ。
Oh god, the scary sprite.
ではレナさん、そろそろお願いします。
Like the low-key scary one, not blatant scary.
はいはい、皆さんご清聴ですわよ。
Right, so what are
で
we
は
thinking?
皆さん、
As in, like, what are they gonna talk about?
日暮らしの泣く頃に水たたり殺し、本当にお疲れ様でした。乾杯。
せーの。
乾杯。
Yay, clap, 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 clap. Alright.
さ
Now we get into the nitty-gritty, right?
では毎回恒例の
Yep.
今回のシナリオ議論でもやって
This is
み
what I'm
ます
here
か
for.
ね。
This is what I'm really here for. I want it to, like, help turn the gears in my head, right? Maybe it'll help me theorize a bit better.
とは言ったものの、今回のシナリオも煙に巻かれっぱなし。意見のある方は挙手をお願いしますね。
お、みんな慎重。挙手ないね。
じゃあ私が先陣を切ろうかしら。申し訳ないんだけど、
It's gonna
音
be
楽を変えて
something
もらってもいい
creepy.
かしら。もう少しミステリアスな感じの。
God damn it, asking for the music change and getting it.
ああ、これがいいわね。
Kind of a W, though.
ムードが出まくりなのです。では高野さん、お願いします。
多分ね、たたり殺しのシナリオだけを吟味しても謎は解けないんじゃないかと思うの。
Alright.
そりゃ同感だね。ここまで物語が重なればそういう仕掛けがあることは明白だしね。
Right.
そんな仕掛けありましたかしら。
これが正しい例かはわからないけど、鬼隠しで前原くんが大石さんとレストランで食事をして、それが園崎さんに知られていて不思議だったってくだりがありますよね。
Right.
鬼隠しだけだと実に不思議な出来事ですけど、綿流しを読めば別に不思議でも何でもないことがわかります。
Right.
劇中の私が入ったレストランは園崎系列の店だったということですね。
Yeah.
園崎一族はこの辺りの飲食店やら何やらを経営しているわけですから。
In retrospect, yeah, no shocker how they learned that one.
で、ケイちゃんの顔を知る者があの店にいて、それを私に伝えたと考えれば比較的筋は通るでしょ。
Okay. I mean, it very easily could have been Shion if that's what you're getting at.
そういうことだね。
I feel like that's what's being
日暮らしの物語
implied.
は微細に異なる場所もありますけど、大筋の設定においては多分4つのシナリオは共通していると思います。
Well, let's hear these three.
例えばキャラクター設定。
Okay. He just means like core components. Gotcha.
鬼隠しのレナは怖い人だけど、それは鬼隠しだけの設定ということじゃなくて、レナはレナで4つのシナリオに全く変わらない設定で出演しているということですね。
So far, that makes more sense than I had originally alluded to, right? I think after chapter 2, I was convinced there was going to be this like which is the real Rena, right? Which one was the abnormal Rena? And I think the truth is that both are the normal Rena. I mean, we saw this chapter. We got the normal, reliable Rena, like at least for the most part. No, honestly, I would just say we did. She didn't have a major role, but like, she was constantly like setting things straight, like being like kind of the leader of the group. Like when Keiichi was acting out of line, she'd reel him in, right? But at the same time, when we mentioned Yashiro-sama to her on that walk back from, what was it, the party after the baseball game, right? She got worked up into a frenzy, right? And so I'm like, I think if you don't work her down out of that frenzy, it could just keep getting worse and spiral into what we saw in chapter 1. So yeah, I agree with this, actually.
全く変わらない設定というのは同感。僕がどのシナリオでも常に同じ場所で同じ死に方をするのはその最たるものだね。
Right.
どんな物語になっても必ず同じ日に死にますですよ。
Yeah, on my birthday, bro.
綿流し編でお祭りの最中に高野さんと富武さんが西宮殿に忍び込むというシーンがありますけど、あのシーンも他のシナリオでは描かれなかっただけで、
Yeah.
起こったことになってるのかもしれま
That
せん
is
ね。
definitely something I had thought about, right? Is that there's no reason to assume that that didn't happen in chapters 1 and 3. In fact, the only reason we were there was because of Shion's presence, right? And in chapter 1, Shion was not in the game yet. And in chapter 3, I just don't think, well, I was about to say I don't think Shion was at Watanagashi, but you know who else wasn't at Watanagashi? You know, Keiichi. I guess that's a bigger deal, explaining why he wouldn't be there. But
なっているそうです。綿流し当日のお天気や部活の内容、聡子のおじさんの帰宅など、いくつかのイベントを除けばほとんどが共通するそうです。
I mean, I will say those are kind of some huge details, but there are a lot more similarities than what the routes themselves would kind of lead you to expect.
だとすると、新しい疑問がいくつか湧きますね。全く同じ環境で語られる物語なのに、なぜああも違う物語に派生するのか。
一般的なサスペンスアドベンチャーの視点で考えると、物語が派生する分岐点が存在したってことになりますね。
Right.
綿流しで言うと、お姉に人形を渡した、あるいは渡さなかったというあたり？
It's not like I had a choice in the matter.
あんな序盤の選択肢1個でバッド確定とは恐ろしい選択肢だね。
That is pretty horrifying in all fairness. Say that was actually a choice, right? That would be a pretty horrifying. Like, you make a choice that early, play that much, just to find you reached a bad end that you couldn't avoid after that. It's like, bro, ain't no way. Wrap it up in like a few hours tops after I hit the bad end conclusion, please.
では、たたり殺しに話を戻しますと、この場合ですと、おじを殺そうと決意するあたりですかしら。
Right.
私はずっとそれ以前、
I actually do kind of agree with that. I was gonna say, like, I mean, I didn't say it, but whether you kill the uncle or not doesn't necessarily feel like the inflection, like, or like the point of change, right? I would say, if anything, I would certainly at least go as far back as to when Keiichi made the decision to kill the uncle, when Keiichi kind of snapped. Possibly just that scene in the classroom in general. I mean, and the thing is, all of that can be perfectly explained by stuff that happened before it, so I'm like, could you go even earlier than that? Probably. Let's see what Takano thinks.
同居人の女性がトラブルで失踪して、叔父がひなみ沢に帰ってくることになったあたりから、
Okay.
もう分岐しちゃってると思うわね。
You think that one goes way back. That makes sense. His girlfriend is murked and left in a sewer grate. Or, you know, like, left down in a sewer or whatever. And that causes him to return to Hinamizawa, so whatever caused her killing is the real, like, big point of change. I mean, from what we know, it was her plotting to get some money from the mafia. That's my understanding of the matter, but...
では、一番最初の鬼隠しの分岐はどこなのですか？
What was the first branch? I mean, you could probably argue as early as when, I want to say when Keiichi started to learn about the damn dismemberment incident. Because that's what really started to isolate him from the rest of the group.
やはり劇中の私が登場してお社様のたたりに関する連続開始事件のことを話すあたりからだと思いますね。
Yeah, okay, so maybe not, yeah, that makes more sense. Maybe not the damn dismemberment incident itself, but rather when he started to really dive into things further than just that incident.
今思ったんですけれど、ちゃんと圭一さんがミオンさんの気持ちを理解して、それで大石さんも私のおじさんも現れなかったら、何も起こらずに平和に過ごせるってことなんじゃありませんの？
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. I'm sure something else would have happened.
へえ、さとこにしちゃ本質ズバリじゃないのよ。確かに言えてる。
じゃあこの暗い物語は大石さんとおじさんが現れないことを祈りつつ、園崎さんのご機嫌を損ねないようにすればみんな幸せになれるということなのかしら。
Wouldn't it be nice if it was that simple?
おねえバッドエンド要因。みんな気をつけてね。おねえの機嫌を損ねるとバッドエンド確定ですよ。何よそれ。シオン、あんたには次は容赦なく痛い目見させてやるからね。
Good lord.
泣いた謝ったって許してやるもんか。待てこら。
Very normal, you know, sibling interactions.
これまでの物語の謎は全然解けないけど、どうやったらこの物語が大団円で終わるかのグッドエンドの推理はできちゃいましたね。
Right. Doesn't seem like much of a plan to me, but sure.
本当にそれで幸せになれるんでしょうか。
No, probably not.
大石さんと北条哲平さんの不登場、
I feel like something else would just go wrong.
ミオンさんのお人形の件、本当にそれさえ気をつければいいんですかね。
そうそう、みんなは一つ大きな最後を忘れてるよ。ひなみ沢大災害という天災を忘れたかい？
Yeah, let's talk about that, please.
天才は防ぎようがないですわよ。
I do not believe that was natural for a second.
村のみんなにガスマスクを配って引っ越しでもしますの？あれはきっとお社様のたたりなのです。
I also can't agree with that explanation, Rika. Sorry.
だから お社様を怒らせないようにしなければならないのですよ。
And if it's Oyashiro-sama's curse, something is telling me Oyashiro-sama is not much of a deity, but rather a very real person who was very angry about how that route played out.
なははは、ややこしい話になってきましたね。つまり、お社様も怒らせてはダメと。お社様を怒らせないためにはどうすればいいのでしたっけ？
ダムの計画そのものがきっとダメなんでしょうね。ダム計画がそもそもなければよかったんじゃないでしょうか。
それは
Yeah.
難しいわよね。
Good luck on that one.
だとしたらお怒りになったお社様を鎮める儀式が必要ね。
鬼ヶ淵の沼に捧げ物を鎮めるあの儀式ですね。
捧げ物って何をお社様に捧げるって言うんですか？
I'll say one thing I'm kind of thinking right now, and I kind of just want to put it to words, is like, remember that thought that Rika could be like the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama? There's a part of me that's like wondering if like Rika is, I don't know, part of me thinks Rika's a lot more involved than we know right now. Now, I don't want to say she's the person getting angry and is somehow responsible for all these events, but like, I'm almost considering it, right, that she is the Oyashiro-sama in this sentence, but like, does that really make sense? I don't know. I'll think about it a bit more later. I just wanted to say it out loud. Hopefully it makes me remember to look into it.
そりゃあ決まってるでしょう。どんな分岐にも関係なく話の流れから脱落が確定している人だよ。どうせ死ぬならひなみ沢のための人柱になってもらわなくちゃね。
Poor guy.
その脱落が確定している人ってやっぱり僕のことかな。
やっぱり二郎さんはこの物語に欠かせない重要な役割の人だと信じてたわ。
If that's actually how this story went, that would be wild.
お役目を立派に果たしてちょうだいね。
Yeah, Takano would enjoy that, huh?
これで今度こそグッドエンドの大団円シナリオの青写真ができましたね。
I know Tomotaku's like, whoa, 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 wait.
せっかくだからちょっとやってみましょうか。役者は全員揃ってることですしね。
First, we stop Uncle Hojo, whose lover ran out on him from returning to Hinamizawa.
いやー、私が北条おじですよ。
He has no portrait, so I'm standing in.
はいはーい。行き場をなくしてロンリーブルー。
I think this is exactly how that went, yeah.
早くひなみ沢に帰ってさとこちゃんをお持ち帰りしてじっくり教育。未来はご奉仕メイドですよ。ではひなみ沢にバイクで帰りますか。キーを入れてカチッとカチッ。
Kaboom! What? Bro, they got that GTA ignition bomb, right? Like, the GTA engine bomb, bro. You know how much that costs? It's not actually that much, but... Probably deserved.
怪人に着せでございますわよ。
I say probably. But, you know, it is. To ashes and dust you shall return.
さとこちゃん、火薬の量多すぎじゃないかな。
We're all just, you know, cosmic space dust in the end anyways, right? I hope Coach is alright, Sweat. Next we stop Oishi from showing up.
今度は私ですか。私の名前はクラウド大石。ジャジーでブルースな感じがだいぶイケてるナイスミドルですよ。
A blues singer? Maybe. Bro thinks a little highly of himself.
成敗なのです。
そして忘れちゃいけないのが お姉へのアフターフォロー。ささお姉、可愛らしいお人形さんですよ。よかったでちゅね。いや、なんだか納得いかない。
で
Don't blame you.
最後にお社様の怒りを鎮めなくちゃならないと。
では最後のお役目
Poor
よろしくね。
guy.
踏んじばってすまきにして吊るして
Bro,
3日かけて沈めるんでしたっけ？
what?
面倒くさいですからここは一気に行っちゃいましょう。
Why's everyone in
ガ
such
ボ
a
ガボガ
rush?
ボガボガボ。
Bro, poor guy.
これにて一件落着。
The end already? Oh no. Okay, no, they're trolling. Good lord. Dude.
なんでかな。
I was like, whoa, there was more to talk about.
突然レナの腕が光ってうなって大変なことに。獅子類類で大変なことになってますのです。
Right. Okay, is this our scheduled call with
あ
Keiichi?
れ、電話だ。もしもし。あ、ケイチくん、お疲れ様です。
おうおう、相変わらず大盛り上がりみたいじゃねえか。こっちは次回の台本読みで相変わらず忙しいってのに。まあいいや、今日の俺は機嫌がいいから嫌味はなしにしてやるぜ。シオンはいるか？もう行っちまってもいいんじゃないか？
Shion.
あれ、
Okay.
今ここで発表しちゃうんですか？とはいえもうすでに分かってる人たちもいるでしょうけど。
What is being announced here? What's going on?
シオンさんとケイチさんの二人っきりの秘密ですって？何よそれ。
Mion does not enjoy the thought of that one.
聞いてない聞いてない聞いてない。
Okay, Kei-chan, let's say it at the same time. 1, 2, 3. The main character of the next story, which is chapter 5, almost certainly, will be Shion Sonozaki. Interesting. Interesting. I did not expect that. I was not expecting this. I'm pretty sure this means chapter 5. I saw someone in my comments mentioned that there were a few things that they're going to refer to about the next story. And at the time, they were writing... at the time, chapter 4 didn't exist, and so they were referring to chapter 5. So that is my assumption here, is that chapter 4 will probably still be Keiichi, and chapter 5 will be Shion. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
まあつまりはそういうことです。初登場以来ダントツの人気ナンバーワン。
Really? Was she actually?
姉妹キャラでも遅れ登場した片割れの方が絶対に人気が出るってのはギャルゲー全盛時代から決められたお約束ですし。
I don't know what the TH means there.
わけわかんねえことはどうでもいいよ。とにかく俺はそのシナリオでは主人公のお役ごめん、風の噂じゃ俺のボイスを超えてるとか。
Oh, shoot! Oh, man. If the man Keiichi finally got himself a portrait, that would be a W.
へっへん、俺の苦労を少しは思う。
まあ
Whoops.
ケイちゃんのボイス数は異常ですから
No.
他のシナリオに入れるようになればすぐに逆転されるでしょうけど。
It wouldn't be. Not to me.
まあ園崎姉妹の実力ってやつをとくと皆さんにお見せして差し上げますよ。
Okay, I mean, maybe.
でもいいんですの、シオンさん。主人公は毎回ろくでもない最後を迎えると決まってましたよ。
Hey, it's not like Shion avoids that fate most of the time anyways, you know? I think they've got like the same survival rate one time. I mean, Keiichi kind of lived like 1.5 times. It depends on what actually happens at the end of chapter 2, to be fair. If at the end of chapter 2, Mion showing up was just like some hallucination, he's probably fine. Honestly, as time goes on, I assume it's more likely to not be a complete hallucination, and that he might be cooked. But he lived for a while after the end of 3.
まあこれまではね。でもね、次回からは必ずしもそうはならないんですよね。
日暮らしの泣く頃に睡も今回のたたり殺しと外伝の染め写しで一区切り。ミステリアスな謎を次々と提示してきた出題編はここで折り返しになり、
This is another one that I think is bracing for Chapter 5 rather than 4.
次の章からはこれまでの謎に挑み、そしてさらなるドラマの幕開けとなります。
Answer, arc. Close enough.
つまり私が名探偵になって理不尽な謎をバスバス解決していく痛快ストーリーなわけです。
Interesting.
今のうちから決め台詞を考えておかないとね。
I wonder if she's going to remain the protagonist or if it's just going to be for like one route or maybe even just part of one chapter, right? Or if it's going to be like part of one chapter. I don't know.
あなたを犯人ですみたいな。納得いかない納得いかない。御三家の秘密に近づきすぎて閉じ込められていたぶられて、
That's also possible.
悲惨な最後を遂げる役に決まってる。お姉こそ私に全ての謎と秘密をカンパされて謝罪の言葉を口にしながら自害なされる心の準備は OK です。
お社様のたたりの可能性はなしなのですか？
I wouldn't say no chance.
さて、そのしーちゃんが主役の目明かしに進むためには新しい警察資料が必要です。初めからを選んでゲームを開始すると主人公にシオンが追加されているので、それを選んで進めてください。
Obviously don't need to worry too much about the hype building and like, hey, this is gonna happen, because it happened.
鬼隠し、綿流し、そしてたたり殺し、この3つのシナリオを重ね透かして皆さんにはどんな真実が見えてくるでしょうか。推理はまとまるどころか、ますます煙に巻かれていくだけ。
That might be where I'm at. I've got some ideas. I do. But a lot of my thoughts, I'm like, I don't even know.
レナも全然わからないです。
For all of you warriors who never yielded to these 3 mysteries and kept on fighting, we present you with one final scenario as thanks for your enthusiasm, one which we never originally planned on giving to you. Please enjoy it. Okay, so what was I assume that was probably added in afterwards. Interesting. Okay, I don't even really know where to look right now. Like, I gotta look at something. But, like, I don't even know where to start. The Allcast review session was pretty fun. We'll start just by talking about that. Pretty fun. Honestly, it didn't reveal all that much. I mean, the Shion thing is interesting. I didn't really expect that. I kind of wonder what that means for Chapter 5. I've kind of been wondering for a while now, are the answer arcs going to be direct sequels to the question arcs, right? Is Chapter 5 going to be a direct sequel to 1? I don't know, right? But it's possible. And so I'm intrigued by it. And I'm like, honestly, Shion showing up could be more indicative that that is the case, right? Because Keiichi is just dead in Chapter 1, and Shion doesn't show up at all, right? So I don't think it's impossible that she could be the main character, filling in his shoes, trying to figure out exactly what happened. Maybe she got word on the missing portion of the notebook paper, like the little note he left behind, right? Maybe she heard about that, starts investigating, and is trying to figure out exactly what is going on. And what else? I don't know what else there is to say about that. A lot of that was just like good fun. They were talking about like this idea that there's a lot of critical points that if these are changed, maybe everything would be fine, right? I I gotta say, right now, I'm not sure it's as simple as just changing those three things, right? Like, I feel like there's just going to be something else that would pop up. And I mean, there's a fourth scenario, so like there's kind of got to be something else that pops up. But even ignoring that, right? Um I don't feel like it's just as simple as just trial and error, um keep trying to keep things from, like, what made things get out of hand and then prevent that from happening, right? I think whatever the root of everything is, that's where we're, like, if there is a proper real solution, right, to everything, say there's like a golden route at the end, right? Chapter 8, everything comes together, most everyone lives, people aren't getting horribly murdered by their friends unless one of them's the main villain, right? Then they die. Right? In that scenario, I think you have to really look at things from the roots rather than, like, it's like pulling weeds, right? Or like, like, I mean, like, basically that kind of idea, right? That you can pull weeds all you want, right? This might be a terrible analogy because I actually don't know. I don't know anything about gardening. I'm pretty sure this is how weeds work. So if I sound wrong, you get the point. But you pull weeds, but if you don't get them by the roots, it doesn't really matter. You can just keep pulling the top off, right? What you can see visibly, right? And I feel like everything they presented is what we see visually, right? On the surface, you can see, yes, Tepe returned. That's why things got so crazy this route. But you have to consider what made Tepe return, right? Frankly, what led to Satsuko being in Tepe's care in the first place, right? Because that really wasn't supposed to happen. And you got to think about that opening scene in chapter 3, right? Is always what I think is, or right now that's what I'm thinking back to with the the woman had been murdered, right? And I'm like, I mean, like, that could tie into things a bit, maybe, if we learn more about that. It seemed like she was just trying to get some money, to be honest. But, like, it makes you wonder, like, is the mafia, right? Like, are they just involved, right? Or, I don't know. I don't know. And then, I mean, with Oishi, it's like, yeah, Oishi's the one that gave us all that information in Chapter 1. But I don't think it's exactly impossible that we get it from someone else, such as, I don't know, Takano Tomitake, who gave him that information the next day, right? Might not have been the literal next day, but it wasn't very long after Keiichi meets with Oishi that he talks to them and gets a lot of extra information about these things. And I guess he probably, maybe he doesn't get all this information if he hadn't talked to Oishi, but, like, the point is, right, I don't think that the three solutions they came up with just magically fix everything, right? And I mean, even, like, I know I don't need to go through all of them, but Mion, it's like, just appease Mion, right? What happens when she feels slighted and angry later, right? The question is, what is making her so angry, right? Like, why is she reaching the point that she does, right? And I think that's okay. So this is something I was kind of thinking about. We're probably gonna need a break here in a minute, but, like, so that I can kind of sort my thoughts together. But this is, like, one thing I was thinking about. I feel like right now there are two main similarities in every route that I can think of, like, in terms of how the story plays out, right? And one of them is the fact that we always have some characters going cuckoo. In every route, and we've seen a lot of characters get those crazy eyes and, like, have something they go crazy about. And I think the question is really, like, and I think understanding that question is how we solve the second route. What causes the Hinamizawans to get so crazy, right? To be so tempted to kill, right? Like, what exactly causes that? Because if we can fix that, that's a much better fix than just give Mion a doll, right? And then hope she doesn't get angry again later. I guess while we're here, by the way, I'll go ahead and say the other thing that feels really similar for every route to me. And that's the fact that there are characters that are dead that shouldn't be, based on what we understand of the story. Right? Like, or excuse me, the other way around. The characters that should be dead that aren't. In Chapter 3, it's pretty obviously Tepe. On Chapter 2, we have Mion at the end, right? And as I tied in Tepe, right, I definitely have thought, like, I'm definitely leaning more and more towards that Mion being real and alive, right? Rather than just some crazy suicide hallucination by Keiichi, right? I think it was real, right? Like, I do. I really do. And then also on top of that, in Chapter 1, I mean, we have the big prevailing mystery of the foreman, right? You know, we haven't talked much about the dam site murder, right, in the past 2 chapters, really. That was mainly a Chapter 1 thing, but I think we can't really forget that that dude is supposed to be dead, right? And they're using the same word that was used to refer to the construction foreman who got diced into 6 pieces, right? They're using that same word to refer to Irie. Now, this could just be a reflection of rank rather than just, like, a title for Irie specifically. But, like, Keiichi seemed pretty convinced that it could be linked, and it's worth noting that part of the note was taken away, right? When it was found, right? That part of the note was ripped out of the page. That was the part that was missing, right? Was reinvestigate that, right? And so it leads me to think they're alive, right? Just like Keiichi thinks. And that's one time, every single, minimum one time in every single chapter, that somebody who should not be alive is alive, right? And honestly, it started to make me question every death in the whole game, right? Like, I don't, like, we can just kind of go through some of them, right? So first of all, Takano and Tomotage, you gotta kind of wonder about them, right? There's got to be some reason they die every route, other than just the fact that, I mean, they could just, like, it could just basically be a canon event, right? That they go into the storehouse in every route, and then they die for it. Maybe. Part of me wouldn't be shocked if it's something more significant than that, but I don't have a clue what that would be right now. But some other ones that I'm thinking of is we have, and this is part of what kind of drove home my thoughts earlier about how I was talking about how I was like, there might be something sus about Rika, right? Like, I think it's possible. She dies in 2 of 3 routes. Which, on the surface, is whatever, right? That's fine, right? You know, that's just Higurashi. And it very much still could be, you know, maybe I'm not correct in seeing it this way, but I can't help but think to all the characters who are, like, visibly dead at some point, but they're not, right? And it makes me wonder if, like, somehow, and I don't really know how, but if somehow, I don't know why I just lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Okay, sorry. It makes me wonder if somehow Rika is, like, kind of, I don't want to say responsible, but almost like faking her death, right? Like, if she's using her death, like, visibly as a way to, like, kind of hide things almost, right? Because I'm like, I don't know. I could see a world where Rika is still running around in Chapter 2 and she, like, somehow, like, tepe'd herself, right? Like, back to life, right? Because my assumption right now, right, and this has not changed, my assumption right now is it's some weird, like, time shenanigans, right? Similar to kind of Steins Gate, right? Kind of, well, and it's kind of like specifically Steins Gate, if you could remember things were, or like how things were the way before, right? Or like the way things were before, right? And so in theory, right, in this scenario where it's like, okay, say we're gonna say Irie in replacement of the foreman right now. That might be wrong, but for now I will say that, right? Say Irie is the foreman at the dam site. Irie is murdered, and perhaps this is planned, right? And then someone somewhere does some shenaniganery that like undoes him getting murdered, right? Everyone who murdered him still remembers murdering him. His body is still there because that's how it works, right? But he's not dead. That could explain Irie being alive, right? And you can do the same thing for Rika. Like Rika goes right over to Mion, gets killed in chapter 2, but this was all part of the plan, and so some shenanigans ensue. Whatever is maybe causing weird time disturbances, and she's alive again, right? Everyone remembers her dead, right? And her body is still there, and that's kind of like one big thing that I think I really need to think about, because in theory, this kind of idea that I have about like time shenanigans, I almost wonder how much this works actually. I feel like it makes sense in a way, but why does it leave bodies, right? Why does it leave bodies? Because that's the main thing that I'm really questioning, is there are a lot of people who are supposed to be dead who are visibly alive. Well, I guess, no, maybe that doesn't make sense, because Tepe didn't leave a body. Okay. Maybe that does not make sense then. Maybe I take back everything I just said about Rika specifically. I still maybe have reason to be a little sus of her, but I think I have to remember. Well, no, okay, but Mion, I don't. Chapter 2, Mion. I don't know, dude. There's one example that works for in this case, and one that works against that theory in this case, right? Because Mion is kind of the perfect example of, we found Mion's body, but like Mion was already dead. Or like we found Mion's body and she was already dead, right? Like a day before we had contact with Mion. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. And could be maybe explained by time shenanigans where, Mion dies there, right? Whatever, it's undone. Her body is still there, but she is roaming free. But it does not explain Tepe at all, really. And so I don't know. I guess unless like, I don't know. Unless there's some like different levels to it, I don't know. Maybe I need to pitch this theory. Jeez, I don't know. My mind is kind of racing with ideas right now, but nothing is kind of centralized. So right now, I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to take some time to think, hopefully. Maybe organize my thoughts a bit. And see if I can come up with anything. I want to dive into the text a bit, but right now I'm trying to organize the possibilities that I think I need to look at, right? And like what is important to see. Because I think it's important to answer the two big things that I said felt like constants between each route. Everyone, like someone going crazy, and people being alive who are not supposed to be alive, right? I feel like those are the constants between each route, like I said earlier, and I feel like I'm going to try to use a little bit of time to figure out exactly how, like, what is going on with these, like, what I need to look at to maybe explain those constants, right? So we're there should be a quick jump cut here. All right, back from the jump cut. And I'm mostly here to say that this is probably actually the end of the video. So I spent the last like 2 hours trying to formulate some ideas, and I've come to the conclusion that I'm not him. I'm not him, bro. Honestly, I'm not really getting any solid connections like I would want right now. So my current thought is just play chapter 4, and then try again. I imagine chapter 4 will give us some more insight, and will help me kind of create these theories, right? I'm like, the way I see it right now is I can either move on to chapter 4, right? Upload this tomorrow, on Saturday. Just keep moving, and we'll get there. We'll just go along with the ride and hopefully still try and figure things out, just not quite as early. Or I could delay this video even longer and try to piece things together, and there's no guarantee I will. I've had plenty of time to think about things, and things haven't really come together like I wanted to, or wanted them to so far. I will definitely give like a very brief rundown on some things that I'm thinking real quick before we end the video. But I haven't been able to fully connect dots, really. Right? Like, I think I've got some dots, but they're not connected. So, first of all, I want to say I think Rika has a very big role to play still. Which I think is true of everyone, but I think Rika, probably for the rest of the game, I wouldn't be shocked if she has one of the, like, top 2 most prevalent roles. And the big reasons for that, one, she's been kind of irrelevant so far. Like, she's had moments where she's important to the plot, but I don't know. A lot of them feel like they're tying her into the mystery rather than she drives the plot forward, right? Like, or like things are really about her, right? So like chapter 1, a lot of it is about Rena, right? And it ties all of her into the mystery, but we learn a lot about Rena, right? Chapter 2, we learn a lot about Mion. The whole chapter is about like Mion, right? 3, Satoko. I don't think I really need to explain why, right? I'm guessing 4 is going to be Rika. And so even beyond that, right? Just giving her like a chapter to develop really, which I suspect, like I said, will be 4. I think there's some things she's tied into, right, that are intriguing, such as in chapter 2, she had that syringe, right? And that's a big one. What does that syringe do, right? And that's what I'm still trying. One of the big things I need to figure out, right? I need to figure out what that syringe does, because what Rika carrying that syringe could mean very good things for her character if that syringe is like, you know, maybe there's a chance that something in Hinamizawa just makes people crazy, right? And that syringe is like a cure, right? Somehow, right? Or maybe it's something kind of sinister, right? Maybe that's what... I don't think... Okay, it's not causing people to go murder mode, in my opinion, right? I do think it's maybe possible that, like, I don't know. I've mentioned before that I think there's, like, time alteration stuff going on, and I think I've put it into better words now. And so we'll talk about that in a minute, right? But maybe it's helping people forget some of their past memories that are, like, not aligning with things, right? Maybe that's what the syringe does. Or maybe it just is the murder drug. I don't know. But I don't think it is, because I think in chapter... Well, I think in chapter 1 it might have been empty, right? So maybe it is the murder drug. Right? I don't fully know. But I think what that syringe has could have a big implication on her character. I think it's also worth noting that for some reason in chapter 3 she got killed by the mafia, right? Like the Yakuza, right? And no matter how you look at it, like that, it's like, huh? Maybe you could argue they killed her to get at Keiichi, right? But I wouldn't be shocked if she was involved in something shady, to be honest. Right, and the fact that she's died twice, I'm like, is that sus? Is this like a way, like, is she like faking her own death somehow? The ties to Oyashiro-sama, right? Her being the, like, Oyashiro-sama reincarnated potentially, right? And I'm like, is she gonna have some big role in this story, potentially as a villain? I don't know. That might be a stretch. That's my big, like kind of hot take right now, I guess, is that I think Rika could become a villain. I see some setup there. Will they go for it? I don't know. Is it a red herring? Maybe. But we will have to see. So that's one big thing. The other big thing I want to talk about is I've talked so much about how I wouldn't be shocked if there's something going on with time here. But I don't think it's time travel right now. To be clear, like maybe it's literal time travel, right? But my thought is that it's more like, so I think most of us can agree, right, on the simple principle of cause and effect, right, existing, right, and I feel like even in the review session they talked a lot about like kind of that exactly, cause and effect, right, and so things are caused, right, by something, right, and they have some effect, right. What I think might be happening is somehow people are finding a way to undo the cause from the past, right? Like change like a cause, right? So we'll say like Tepe gets murdered, right? And the cause is Keiichi luring him out and killing him, right? And so let's say someone's like, that wasn't supposed to happen. Let's undo that. In theory, they're just like, okay, the cause was Keiichi luring out Tepe, so we will just somehow maybe like, I think back to Steins Gate, they used email, like you could deliver an email basically to the past, right? And communicate some information and tell them to change things, right? Maybe it's the same kind of concept. Maybe not email so much, right? But like maybe it's like communicating with your past self, right? Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about the mechanism for that. But somehow the cause is altered in the past, and therefore it alters the present. Note how in all of this there is absolutely no time travel being done, right? Time flows consistently, right? Because I do think so far that is true, right? Maybe it's not. Maybe they're going to go really crazy, and every chapter has all been the same story, right? Just rewinded over and over again, like someone trying to get things right. I don't know. Are there any characters that even survive every route? Not that I can think of. No for Rena, no for Mion, no for Keiichi, no for Shion? Yes for Satoko, I think, actually. No for Rika, but that's a kind of a question mark. I don't know. So yeah, we probably don't need to go too much into that right now. But point is, right, that is kind of my idea of the time travel kind of thing that I have been saying I am suspecting. Now, it could very well be something else causing these discrepancies in the time that a body is ID'd and when someone is visually confirmed, like I am looking at Mion, but she's dead, right? Right, like there might be some other explanation for that, but right now that's the one that makes the most sense to me personally. And so that's what I'm going to roll with. And so that's the big thing right now. And it makes me wonder what the odds are that the crazy eyes, right, for example, what if that's somehow part of the mechanism changing cause and effect? I don't know that makes sense though, because of the classroom scene, when Keiichi kind of got what I'm pretty sure were the crazy eyes. Was there anything in there that indicated he received a message from someone else? I mean, not really, right? It just seemed like he snapped to me, right? And so I don't know. And that's kind of another issue. I can't really link the mechanism. I'm just one step short in a lot of things, right? I feel like I'm close to understanding, and that doesn't mean my current understanding is correct, right? Maybe that's why I can't get that last step, right? Because I'm just wrong, right? That would not be shocking at all, actually. But you know, like, I don't know. I think that's an interesting like, it's like an observation that I made, is like, it feels like there's just always that one thing that I'm like, no, that, like, that just doesn't work, right? Otherwise I feel like I'd have a few things tied together, and it makes me wonder if I'm just missing a detail that already exists and I'm on the right track, or if I'm just on the wrong track completely and that's why I'm so far off. I don't know. um but I think that's the basic description of the things that I'm like, I feel like I'm missing so far. There's actually one more thing I want to look at in this video real quick. And that is not here, not here, back here, all the way at the end of this video. Let me go ahead and mute this. Hey everyone. It was something that I noticed. I don't remember exactly what got me to notice this, but it was right here. It took me this long to realize that what I thought was completely gibberish text, like here, is all just proper English, right? It's just kind of not scrambled. It's just the words are not clumped together correctly. And so I think this is something worth looking at again. I looked at this before I left, but I don't really remember any conclusions I drew from it, really. But let's go ahead and look at this. So Jiro Tomitake, real name unknown, possibly committed suicide in the village on my birthday, 1983. Unlucky. Investigation suspended. A mysterious old man with with the role of an extra, yet still popular. He won't be doing much for a while. So that's what they have to say about Tomitake, mysterious old man, surprisingly popular. A lot of this is just kind of meta, if I recall correctly. I made this character seriously suspicious. This is Takano. Seems kind of like the last boss. Maybe she should be the one to take the punches in the end. I need to make her so bad even Coach would punch her. Maybe a full transformation in the end is in order. So they kind of seem to be teasing that I guess maybe it's somehow Takano. She's very, I mean, what they're saying right now is very obvious that it is, like, clear that they wrote Takano to be suspicious, right? I think that goes without saying with everything we saw with her on the night of Watanagashi itself. Right, how she seemed to have killed someone as well. And how it seemed like it was Tomitake, and then she was found dead as well. So, like, what was going on there? I don't know. But we'll move on for now. Kurado Oishi went missing during an investigation on June 20th, 1983. Investigation continues. A completely enigmatic man, though I'll admit he's convenient. Maybe he'll turn trustworthy in the end after clearing up the misunderstandings. So yeah, that's about, like, my impression on him too, right? He does seem like a convenient kind of plot device a lot of the time. Maybe he'll end up being relevant. I think this is supposed to be what, Kumagai? A completely enigmatic man, though same thing. Same for his partner. Yosuke Irie. Whoa. Okay. A lot of visual artifacts. Kyosuke Irie possibly committed suicide in the clinic on June 21st. Investigation suspended. I made him seem like a very good person. I'll need to make him into a terrible criminal in the end. So, this one, I'm not sure. Like, surely they didn't just, like, intentionally dump like a big spoiler in there. If this is a big spoiler, just don't say that. I would really prefer to not be spoiled on anything. I think somebody in my comments, like a few weeks ago, was trying to spoil Chapter 2 for me. And I kind of ignored it. So if that commenter's watching, sorry. But I'm really not looking for explanations on things that have yet to happen, or even to clarify really my like full-on misunderstandings in a way that would really give me the answers. Right? So that's just a general note. Like, I would appreciate, like, in any case, no spoilers. I think that kind of goes without saying, but, while we're here, this is one of those things where if that's a spoiler, I don't know. So it's only a spoiler if someone confirms or denies for me, To me, it just seems like, because I did talk to a friend, and I think they confirmed this was in the original release. And so this, I don't think, is a giant spoiler. Rather just hints and stuff. So I'm not too worried about it, but just something interesting to note is that basically they're saying that, made him seem like a good person, and he's gonna be terrible. He's gonna have to be terrible in the end, right? Maybe that's misdirection, maybe that's straight up truth, and I just got spoiled. I don't know. I kind of was already thinking he was going to be kind of a villain in the end, but then it makes me wonder, like, do they know that the average player is going to think that? And then this is yet another, like, the twist is that there is no twist and he's just a good person? I don't know. I really don't know. Rika Furude, this is an interesting case here that I think it warrants a little discussion. Possibly murdered at the shrine on June 21st, 1983. Investigation suspended. A convenient character who can't help but garner popularity. If Satoko doesn't get more popular with this, then she might not be able to come back. To make a comeback. Speaking of suffering, maybe Mion has it worse. Pained laugh. I feel that. A mysterious girl in a way. The incarnation of the curse theory. Yeah, so that is kind of one thing I've been wondering about with Rika. They kind of not so subtly hinted that she might be the reincarnation of a Yashiro-sama. Makes you wonder, like, is that just a way of saying, like, she might, like, she's involved in a lot of these things? Maybe she's been hailed in secret as a Yashiro-sama, and so she has a little bit of a god complex, right? Maybe. I don't know. So I think that's an interesting one. I think her murder is that's another big one that we really need to figure out, because, I mean, like, why was she just straight up killed? I don't know. Like, what was the motive? And, like, because, like, they wouldn't just do that for shock value when they're about to murder literally everyone, right, in the entire route. They wouldn't just be like, yeah, we gotta kill Rika for shock value. There was plenty of shock value to be had, right? And so I personally really, like, think there was a lot more to that we will need to figure out. I don't know. But let's keep moving. Hinamizawa Village Gas Disaster and Memoriam List. Apparently, you're supposed to call disasters like the great... Huh? Great Han Shine? No, that's not correct. There's no way. The Great Han... Dude, I don't... Severe disasters. The Great Hanshin Earthquake. The Great Hanshin Earthquake. Severe disasters. Still, it's a terrifying operation plan. Though I guess sterilization operations are like this. I need to think hard so it's realistic. Okay, that was kind of a nothing burger. I didn't really need to read that. Rena Ryugu died on June 22nd, 1983, and then we're going to just read that message. They repeated a lot, though not for everyone, notably. Passed away in the Great Hinamizawa disaster. May she rest in peace. Right, the same is true for Mion. The same is true for Oryu. The same is not true of Satoko and Teppei. That's really important to note. Went missing, not passed away, during the Great Hinamizawa disaster. So where was Satoko? Where was Teppei? Ichiro Maibara died. Aiko Maibara died. That also is, I think, the first time we've seen their names, so it's kind of important that we saw the names Ichiro and Aiko, because that's new. And if we see those again, we, just keep an eye on it. Daiki Tomita, he died. Same with Suguro Okamura. Really interesting is that Chie went missing. So did Kameda. I don't remember who Kameda is. I can't really look it up. But that's a lot of, I think that's a lot of people who are like you got Teppei and Satoko, and then Chie and Kameda. Is that the principal? I don't know factually. That might be the principal, though. So why did they know? Why did they know? Right? I'm assuming they knew. Or if they didn't know, what happened to them? Right? I don't know. I feel like there's some big village conspiracy theory here, which, like, wow, shocker. Right? There's a conspiracy in Higurashi. But I think it's worth keeping all this stuff in mind. Is that they seem like suspicious figures, potentially, whereas I wasn't really suspicious of the teacher up to now. Just all interesting stuff to look at. Especially because the words, I think, for... Okay, so it looks like the teacher and the principal, I actually skipped over the second line there. It looks like they died fleeing. So they did know, it seems. Or maybe they got really, fast response time. But I think there's a good chance they knew. Now, Teppei and Satoko just went missing. Why? Why? Right? Was this, something Teppei did? Was this somehow, Yakuza activity? Right? They were like, hey, bring my boy Teppei back, right? That's how Teppei comes back in Chapter 3, and they were like, and actually punish Hinamizawa for that, right? I don't know, right? Maybe, right? Off the top, it feels like a stretch, but you gotta, why? Why? And I don't know the truth, right? I will say, part of me was thinking, if Rika somehow, I haven't fully tied together how Rika could be faking her death. But in the world where she is, maybe she's somehow behind the gas attack. Right? I know I'm tying a lot of things to Rika right now for no reason, but I'm like, maybe she was just like, we're just gonna get Satoko out of here. Right? Straight up. We're just gonna get Satoko out of here. I don't know why Tepe would live, in all fairness, so I don't really think that explanation makes sense, but again, just kind of an interesting thought experiment while I'm here. Honestly, though, I think for now, that will be it. I know I made it sound like I wasn't going to jump into this. I actually ended up doing a little more diving than I thought. But, like, I didn't really go all that much into the text. I think I'm going to save that for after Chapter 4. Because, like I said, I want to keep moving right now. And I'm not making any progress on my theorizing. And so I don't want to sit here until I feel like I have a good explanation. I just want to keep moving, right? And so, for now, that's going to be all for this video. There's a chance maybe I don't upload it tomorrow, and that I instead take a further deep dive into the text. I don't know. But at the very least, for now, that's going to be all. So, even though this video wasn't quite what I planned on it being, or probably quite what anyone really anticipated, I feel like I didn't really... Last time, I feel like I dived into the text, right? Or, well, I know I dived into the text, whereas this time, I dived into it a tad bit there at the end, but most of it was just me trying to piece things together that I already knew. And so, yeah, like I said, it wasn't quite what any of us really expected, so I hope you guys still enjoyed it nonetheless. Hopefully the video quality came out fine. If not, let me know, because like I said, I tweaked some settings, relatively minor stuff, or it should be. But if it's not, please let me know. And I hope you guys are looking forward to Chapter 4, whether you were satisfied with this video or not. I'm looking forward to just seeing more mysteries and possibly some more things that could help me understand what's going on here. Because right now I'm still so lost, man. I'm just lost. Right, I am lost in the sauce. And so I'm excited to see more, and maybe I'll get a little more lost, but maybe it'll give us some answers a little bit, right? Or not like answers, but like some pushes in the right direction, right? So that's the hope. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are looking forward to the next one. I don't know when that should be out. Hopefully it'll only be a few days after this video, though. But I hope to see you guys there. Peace.